So just try and get as low as you can, slowly. We'll give it a few minutes. Just so the useful thing about a screen is that you can see which parts you're tending to not do very well. Yeah, so just working, bouncing in the middle. That's great, looks great. And again, just, so there's always one side that's difficult. This is mine. Yeah, so remember this, you know, in yoga when they get right down here. And so it's just basically just stretching this joint here. So just to feel this joint. So that's really what you're trying to stretch into. That's it, that's great. And then this side. Great. Okay, now let's just squat down. So that's it. And again, just opening the hip joints. See that here. Okay, now just placing the hands on the floor and just bring a bit of weight over the arms. So you're just trying to load the arms like you would the legs. So the arms are supporting a little bit of your weight. And then rock back and just feel the arms emptying and then filling up and just how they change. See that? Yeah, so when you rock back, the arms empty and are capable of dexterity. When you rock forwards onto them, they're just supporting. But they can actually be quite strong. So you've got this arch of your arms across the back. Okay, so we want to feel how like an animal would feel. So the arms are supporting you and your chest is being, your heart is being pulled down by gravity now towards the floor. Okay, and back up again. Okay, and now just gently just moving now from leg to leg. Now what we want to get now is the sense of both legs working all the time. So I'm pushing with this leg, but it's this leg that's responsible for my slowness, because this leg is pushing back. And when I push this leg in this direction, this leg is pushing back a little bit to control the speed. So the speed is actually controlled by the opposite leg. Hello, Mary. So I'm pushing here. Yeah. So you can have two very strong forces, one going in this direction and one controlling it in this direction. And what you see is actually this very gentle, slow movement, but it's actually a balance of two quite strong forces. So I'm pushing. And what we need to just maintain all the time is the sinking. Because when I use my leg, we're mainly using the legs in Tai Chi to generate energy rather than make us move. Yeah. So this leg actually trying to push in this direction, but constrained by this leg, actually produces this squeeze of energy into the opposite arm. And then you can flow with that. So let's just try and get there. So this is trying to push back this leg. This leg is trying its best to hold there. Now the energy has to go somewhere, so it's not going to go into this movement straight away. It's going to squeeze up into the opposite arm. Yeah. So this leg is working really hard to try and push in that direction, but this leg is stopping it. And the resultant expression is a flow of energy into the opposite arm, which I then choose to go with. So this is how we use the legs in Tai Chi. So we use one leg against the other to force one of them to provide a flow of energy. And then we just move with the flow. So this leg is trying to do this. This leg is trying to stop that. And so something squeezes up out of that. And then when I get that flow going, it's the flow that stops me. Yeah, and so basically you're just having to delay your movement as long as you possibly can. So the body moves last of all. Everything is moving and slowly the body starts catching up. So one, and off you go. Yeah. And so it's the power, it's this tension in the legs, one leg fighting against the other, all the time being constrained by the sinking. So you have to get used to working against resistance. And this is the secret in Tai Chi, really. Yeah. So imagine someone was pushing me here strongly into this leg, and this leg was having to work really hard. So I'm having to generate that same power without the person there. So I'm using this leg instead of having a person here. So this leg is trying its best to keep me here. This leg is squeezing. And then I can just slowly release that. So. And down into this leg. So you can see, if you want to be energetic, you have to use both legs. So this leg seems to be the empty leg because it's straight and the weight is here. But in actual fact, it's working really hard to actually generate the energy. And then it slowly starts releasing as the energy expresses itself. Okay, now just moving gently, but it's the same idea. Yeah? This is moving, this is trying to constrain, and now this is trying to constrain. So it feels to me like, you know, if you were to pick up a very valuable vase off the table in order to move it, yeah, you would use both hands, and both hands would be gentle, and both hands would be working together. And then you would lift it up with both hands. They would be very much coordinated. They would lift the object and place it down some way away. So it's exactly the same with the legs. Both of your legs are clasping you here and moving this precious object, which is your own body. Yeah. So I'm moving. So both legs very much have to work together. They have to be very cooperative, but they need to develop a tension between them. And that tension produces the energy. So. That's good. Yeah. So you want the sense of two very different worlds, one down from here, so this, the world of my legs, which are really strong and a lot of tension, and then here just very, very light and careful. I mean, they look the same, but it's very different things going on. So the power down here that's maintained by keeping it a level expresses in my upper body as something very light. But it has a gravity, it has a sort of seriousness, and the gravity that comes from respect and reverence. Yeah. So. And it all depends on the sinking. As soon as you come up, you will lose the legs. And then this just deflates. It has to then become strength in the arms. That's great. So it's very much a sense that this is the ground, this is under the ground, this is subterranean, this is above the ground. So this is of the air, this is of the earth. And once you get it cooking, once you get it working, the main thing is not to become too light, not to take off. So you're constantly struggling to stay down in the legs. Ooh. Okay, now let's just try. So let's try the pulling and the pushing. So let's face towards my left corner, whichever one you want to do. So what we're going to do is just push back. So straighten the leg to send yourself back, and then bend the leg to pull yourself forwards. And then straighten the leg again. And as you come into this leg now, just turn. And now this leg, so push to send yourself back. And then bend the leg to pull yourself forwards. And then straighten the leg to push yourself back. And as you come into this foot, just turn here. And then straighten here. And one. And again, just feel the front leg. It's all front leg. Front leg is bending, front leg is straightening. And it really has to completely straighten to get yourself into this leg. And then you can turn. And then this leg working, so I push myself back, really straighten it, and then I pull myself forwards. And then I really straighten again, push. And then I turn here. And now I'm in this foot, so now I just push back. 1. And then straighten the leg, and then just if you straighten the leg completely, then when you bend it, that bend is sufficient to actually pull you back. So I push and whoa. And then I just turn here. And again, I straighten the leg and the arms just to push myself back. And then I bend the leg to pull myself forward. And then you straighten the leg again. And then you just turn. That's great. And now again, straightening the leg to send yourself back. Bending the leg to pull yourself forwards. And straightening the leg to send yourself back. And then around here. And push. And pull. And push. And around to this side. And push. Yeah. So that back leg, you really want it to be able to just take your weight. If the back leg is quite capable of taking your weight, then the front leg can relax once it straightens and gets you back. And then pull yourself forwards. And then push yourself back. And then around here. And again, as you push, you want this sense that your spirit is reaching forwards, although your body's moving back. And then as you pull, your spirit's coming back from having been forwards, and your body's coming forwards to meet it. So what we're trying to get accustomed to in this exercise is this sense that your spirit and your body are moving in opposite directions. So here my spirit goes out with my hands, but my body flows backwards. Yeah. And then here my spirit comes back, and my body comes forwards to meet it. And then again, something in me flows forwards, and I just allow my body to go back. So we're trying to get used to the body and the spirit doing different things. So here my spirit's reaching forwards. And then I pull back. Now my spirit comes back into my chest. And now my spirit is released from my face and my hands, like a bird flying off into the distance. And then I just turn to here. And now I just release it again, so 1, and let the spirit go. And then pull it back. That's it. So remember, in Tai Chi, what we're interested in is the return. And so here, the spirit is going out. Yeah. But we have to have it return. So what we're trying to practice is that feeling of it bouncing back. And then as it comes in here, it wants to bounce out again. So it's a bit like it's on a piece of elastic that's bouncing. Yeah? So I send the spirit out, but it doesn't matter how much I release it, it's going to bounce back, it's going to suck back. And it doesn't matter how much it compresses into my chest here, it's going to bounce back out again. And then around to this side. And again, so something in me just squeezes the spirit out, it just goes, goes, goes. But then it bounces back. And it always will, as long as you have the correct tone in your body. So this is what we're after all the time, the correct tension. So here, spirit goes out, ooh, and then I catch it and it pulls back in. And it feels quite playful, yeah? Ooh, and then around here. And again, just throw it out. And pull it back. Right out. And then here. Yeah. So we're setting something up which, after a few rounds, starts happening by itself. So you don't really need, after a while, you don't need to concentrate on this at all because it's already established. You just need to do the movements. And one more. So round. And now push. So my spirit flies out. And it just bounces back. And you just want, where the return is, you want to stretch it. So there's a real sense of lingering at that point of return, just because it's quite delicious, you know, it's sort of, you just want to feel it, really let it stretch out, and then it bounces back. So it seems as though it's stopped, but it hasn't. It's just gone into real slow motion. So here, whoa. Yeah, so can you physically stop but keep the energy moving? This is the thing. Yeah? So one more, so one back, and it's going out. But then I get sucked forward. So there's this sense that I suck the spirit back, but the spirit also sucks me forward. So you're never quite sure when it's going well, what's doing what. And then one more this side, and it goes back. And suction forward. And then one more back. Great. Okay, and now just bouncing it again. So these exercises that we do, this one, the tapping the belly and the pulling in, we do these to give the correct tone to the body's center, which is the dantian. So the idea, if this has the correct tone, then the rest of me will as well. And that tone is bouncy. It can return the energy. This is always the test. And now let's tap the belly. And now just rub the belly. It's like you're just rubbing the chi around, and you can alternate. Yeah, just chop and change. And then the other way. And now just pulling the belly in, so pulling in and releasing. In and releasing. Pulling in. And again, we're looking at the return. So how does it spring back? Yeah, so here I expand and it naturally bounces back to here. And then I contract and it naturally bounces back to here. And then I expand and it naturally bounces back to here. And then I contract and it naturally bounces back to here. Yeah. So this is actually the exercise. The exercise is in two halves, out and in, and then in and out. In, bouncing out, and then out, bouncing back. And when, of course, when we do it, we have enough momentum to carry us from one to the other. So I pull it in, I bounce back out, and that flows into this, which expands and then bounces back. Contract, bouncing out, expand, and back. In, out, and out. In, out, and out. In, out, out. In, out, out. In. Right. Okay, now let's just try. Have you got a chair? So just. You can chair, or you can sit down on the floor if you're comfortable. Yeah, if you're. Okay. So just. We're just going to do that exercise. Now, what we want to try and get a little bit of a handle on is using the eyes not only to see, but to express the spirit and express your intensity. Yeah? And this is an exercise where you can sort of do it because it's very clear. Yeah? And so basically what we do, we just do the exercise we've just done, which is pull the belly in, and then push the belly out. Yeah. Now, when you pull the belly in, just really screw your eyes up, really close the eyes and imagine you're looking right down into the down chin. And then when you open the eyes here, really just glare. You don't want the eyes to be able to see anything. They're out of focus. They're just expressing that intensity in you that's coming out. And then here, pull the eyes back in. Into the belly, and then here it's like they go out on stalks. Yeah? They really go out and then they pull back in, and then pushing out, and then pulling in. It's difficult to. It's easy to do, but it's difficult to keep going because we want to look. You've got to just let the eyes just express your madness rather than see things. And push, eyes go out. You don't. Everything's blurred. Everything's out of focus. And then I pull back in, and then again, and pulling in. Push, and pull back in. Push, sure. Pull back in. Push, pull back in, push, pull back in. And a couple more, so push, pull back in, push, pull back in. Great. Yeah, that's it. Okay, now let's try what I call the silent scream, yeah? Which is basically just the hands out, and you just scream, but you don't make a sound. You just, as though you're screaming, so the face just goes into a crate, so it's just... And then just shake the hands. So as soon as you release it, it's gone. Yeah? So there's a moment of madness and terror and complete intensity, and either side it's just completely normal. And again, and then just release it. And again, you don't really see anything, because everything's out of focus when you hit that intensity. Yeah? And one more. And now shake it on the way up. Great. Okay, so now we're sitting down. We might as well try that animal. So I'll just tilt this a bit. So I'm going to sit sideways, yeah, so that you can see what's happening, but you guys can just face the screen. Yeah, so what we're going to do is just lean forwards. Yeah. So lean forwards, as you know, if you're going to stand up, you know, there's this, you lean forwards and then you flip. So it's like we're leaning forwards, but without quite standing up. But there's a sense that something in you is reaching out. And then just bring it back. So let's bring it back into prayer posture. And then again, reaching forwards. And back. And as you reach, just feel this area. Keep that area strong. So 1. That's it. And you want this feeling that your arms are reaching here, but your tail is coming out and reaching backwards. So there's a balance. You're not only reaching forwards, your top is reaching forward, but your bottom is reaching back. So here. That's it, that's great. And then back. And again, just 1. And as you now start just coming off the chair, just like a millimeter, yeah? So as you come forwards, just, yeah, so you're just off the chair, just tiny bit. Relax the shoulders, wiggle your tail, yeah? And just bounce a bit, yeah? So you should be loose, and we're just trying to hit the legs a bit differently, basically. And then just back. Yeah. So we're trying to extend the spine with spirit. Normally we extend the spine with the help of gravity. Yeah, so when you're standing up with a vertical spine, gravity is pulling you down and the earth is going up the spine. So in a sense, it's all being done for you as long as you have correct posture. So when you have a horizontal spine, then the straightness, the beauty in the spine is maintained by the intensity of your spirit more. So this is why animals have such better spirit than we do. Yeah? So let's now just reach forwards and just feel that. So you're reaching, your tail is reaching back, and your spirit is just zooming along this spine. So you've become a really long spine. Like one of those, like a velociraptor, you know, in Jurassic Park, one of those dinosaurs with a long tail. Yes, it's just what. And then back again. So we just want to touch that intensity of the horizontal spine that's supported by 2 strong back legs. So One, and whoa. And just a real sense of those two parts of your spirit. The one that we're used to, which is connected to the head and the heart, and then the other one, which is the tail, which tends to be associated with the devil. And so that's just as important because it balances. Yeah. So let's one more. So forwards and so really squeezing back here in order to get more intensity at the front. Yeah, this is what you want to feel. Otherwise, it becomes out of balance. That's great. And then back. And just really bring that intensity back inside. So it's like something like that really makes you buzz. So you just need to really let it down. Okay, great. So let's stand up again. So we'll just do a bit of turning now. Just turn the light off. Okay, and now just turn. Just feel this and try and keep it in the middle. That's it, that's great. So remember, you are the precious object that your legs are looking after. And you want as little movement as possible in your dantian. So the dantian is just turning. That's it. So these legs really have to brace themselves against each other to maintain this stillness here. Because if my legs are just relaxed, I'm just going to go flying from side to side. So I have to use them against each other a little bit to maintain this stillness in the middle. So they're really having to learn how to cooperate. That's it. So what we want to try and do is connect with the foot that we're turning in towards. So here I'm turning to my left, so I'm wanting to connect with this foot without bringing my weight over it. Yeah? So here, so what I'm wanting is to push with the leg. As I'm turning towards it, I'm wanting to do this. So my leg is pushing against that to keep me in the middle. And then I can use that in the opposite hand, in the cross energy hand. Yeah. And so, yeah, so the hand that comes to the front as you turn is the hand that's connecting with the foot. Yeah. So this hand is active from this leg. And then I turn here, yeah, and here. So to someone looking at you, it looks like you're just, you're not really moving the weight at all, but you're actually really increasing the pressure on this foot by straightening the leg, and that leg is driving through my body and into this opposite hand. So there's a very strong line of cross energy from the ground here, looping across my back and from my right foot into my left hand. And then here, and again, this is already active. This is already wanting. It's like a horse champing at the bit. It wants to start pushing into the upper body. That's great. And then around here, this foot is already active. Yeah. And so if you're bringing your weight over the foot, then it's all well and good, but it just means you've lost the other foot. And so if you need to, so if you're in a tight corner and you really need to sort of wriggle your way out, basically you actually need the weight in both feet. You need to be able to use either foot instantly. So if this foot is pushing into this hand, but as soon as I start turning back, as soon as I start turning back here, this leg is already pushing and trying to force this hand up. Yeah. So it's like my legs are like two nervous horses that are just wanting to gallop away. And my sinking, my probity, my inner gravity actually just keeps that all under control, keeps it down. So this is already working into this hand. And then as soon as I start turning, this is already active, because partly because my turn is partly this leg that's pulling, yeah? And then here, this is already active. Yeah. So is that controlled sort of a explosive energy in the legs that actually generates the spirit in the upper body? So, wow. So from this leg into this hand, but if anything, I'm actually moving back because this leg is working so hard to squeeze the energy through. Yeah. So it's like the cross energy lines through the body are quite difficult to push through. And imagine your body's just a bit sluggish and a bit heavy, like mud. And so you really have to push hard to get this energy coming through into this hand. Yeah. And you have to be sunk, otherwise the push will just bring your body up. And you don't want that. You want the energy to come up, but not the body. So the energy always moves against the body until the body flows with the energy in order to change its location. So from this foot and through into this hand. And then it's got that real sense of the exercise we were doing earlier with releasing the spirit. Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah, so here, I'm already in this leg. It's already pushing up through me. But it's pushing so strong, my body's actually flowing backwards and the spirit's being released. Yeah. So it's very much like a whip. Or if it's, let's say you had something stuck on your hand, something sticky, and you wanted to flick it off, you just do this. Yeah? And so what you'd be doing is giving that thing some energy and then pulling your hand back from it in the hope that it would fly off. It's exactly how you release energy. So here the energy is coming up, and then when I release it, there will just be a flick in the hips, whoa, and it's off. It just flies off, and then it comes off more like an electric shock. Whoa. Okay, now let's just try. Now, we've just done that. Now, just do the exercise how we normally do it, but just feel that that's there. Yeah. So again, you don't want to just fly from side to side like this because it's just a bit dumb. So you realize you want a certain stillness inside. And you want your legs to be constantly pumping energy into your arms. And that will only happen if you stay down. And just feel the centrifugal forces which are throwing the body away from the center, and the centripetal forces, which is like a gathering at the still center of your quiet mind. So just feel the mind just is looking for stillness all the time. So the mind is happiest, I mean your true mind is happiest when it's on its own and it's quiet. It doesn't like company. Yeah. So what we're looking for a lot of the time is just this separation between mind and body. And turning does it beautifully because the body pulls in, the body is thrown out and the mind is pulled in. So they're both flowing in different directions. Yeah, and you can feel it. So the mind, because it likes stillness, when you quieten the mind, it tends to become glum. It tends to become a little bit heady with itself. So this is where the body and the mind really help each other. Because the lightness in this body that is being flung out generates an energy that the mind can borrow. And the gravity of a quiet mind is something that the body can borrow. So they sort of work, eventually, although they're separating, they're really working together. So the difficulty nowadays, the big enemy nowadays is depression. So in other words, lack of spirit. Yeah, so we've basically built an environment, a culture for ourselves which doesn't require spirit. So you can quite easily go through the day dozing and on automatic. Yeah? And so what tends to happen, the mind tends to get a bit heavy. So we're just looking for that lightness everywhere. And that lightness is generated as much by your imagination as anything else. So you need, like John used to say, basically, to study his Tai Chi, you need to be a poet, or you need to have that sense of sensibility. Someone that's aroused by poetry, by beauty. Okay. And now again, let's just bounce it again. That's great. And now let's just go into the foot. And now just bounce in the one foot. So you just on one foot, feels quite different. And then just step and then just bounce on this foot. Step over and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. So it's like we're doing counts of 5. So it's like with each one, you just relax a little bit more, get slightly lower. So you're not just bouncing on the same spot. You're actually deepening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let's just try and feel what happens when you put your foot out to step. So when you send your foot out to step, then basically your center of gravity is shifting, because this is quite heavy, the leg is quite heavy. So if I just put the leg out without actually adjusting my center of gravity, then I would fall into the foot, which is what most of us do. So as you send the foot out, your body has to move in this direction slightly to balance it. So just try and feel that, and then you bring the foot back. So as I send the foot out, I move very fractionally in that direction. Yeah. And then put the foot down, and then pull yourself across. Yeah. And now, as I send the foot out, I am actually moving that direction a little bit. And then I put the foot down, and then the leg pulls me. So as I go out with the foot, I'm actually moving this way slightly. That's it. Yeah. And yeah. Now, if I'm elastic, if I'm bouncy, then just sending the foot out will actually push me in this direction slightly, and I can use that push to actually bounce me back. Yeah, so this is actually what's happening. So it's not as simple as it looks. Yeah. So I'm going out here, I'm actually sinking down here, and then I get thrown out either by this leg, which is bouncy, or by the other leg that's pulling. Yeah. So you send the foot out. Now, also feel how when you send the foot out, you're actually turning the other way. So here you're actually turning. Yeah? So it's like all the steps are basically backward steps. Yeah? Because I'm turning this way. Yeah? So I'm turning here to get the foot to go out. Because you tend to turn in the direction that you're moving. Yeah? So here, as I send the leg out, I'm moving in this direction slightly, and that will also turn me in that direction. So the leg actually comes out blind. You're not looking at it, you're actually turning away from the leg as it comes out. And then you're pulling towards it to see where it is you've landed. Yeah, so this is very important. So this is like a real principle in the Tai Chi. So here, I'm turning away from the leg. And then, once the leg is on the ground, then I turn to investigate where it is I've landed. Yeah. So just feel it as you send the foot out. Yeah, part of you, you're just wanting to turn away from it and turn in that direction. Yeah. And then once the foot's on the ground, then you can then suck yourself onto it. So as I send the foot out, yeah, and then it's like it's a big sort of problem area. You know, how do you move? How do you step? Because basically there's a point where you're in two places at the same time. Because I'm here, now to go to another foot, part of me now has to be here with this foot. Yeah? And then I just suck the rest of me to that place. So all that time I'm dragging myself across, I'm sort of in two places. And that's, again, is one of those areas where we're sort of torn. And it's got sort of real spiritual power, if you like. And so here I just sink down. Okay, so now this is where I'm gonna land. And then I quickly have to claim that spot and just drag myself into it. It's almost like leaping across. Yeah? And it's always fraught with danger and indecision, if you like. Is it the right place? Yeah? Is it going to be safe? Is it going to be safe to actually land here? Okay, let's take the risk and bang. And you're over. That's it. And then here, just a step, but you're actually moving this way and turning this way a bit. That's it, that's lovely. And then once the foot's on the ground, you say, okay, I'll go for it. And you just leap, you take a leap. Yeah. And just, so this really generates lightness. Yeah. So here, yeah. So you want to be able to just draw that foot up, yeah. And then you say, okay, I'm going to go for it. 1, 2, 1, and you're over. Yeah. So all the steps have a sense of leaping a little bit. That light sort of jumping over something, because it's like there's an obstacle in the way all the time to everything that you do. And actually leaping the obstacle, going over the obstacle, actually generates the correct energy for you to engage with the problem the way it should be engaged with. That's great. Yeah, and if you fall, if you lose your balance, that's fine. Yeah. Often we don't realize it, but we're often using a lot of tension to maintain an impression of balance. I know I do. Yeah. Which is why I generally look so perfect. Because I'm so fucking tense. So here and whoa. That's it. And now just bring the leg up. And just feel it stretching the lower back. That's it. That's great. And now just stepping out here. And again, just over. And pull the knee up. And just, you don't have to pull very hard, just slightly higher than you could get it without the hands. Just to feel the lower back stretching. And then here, and 1. And that's great, that's great. And then 1. Very good. Okay, now let's try just this exercise. Yeah, so you can have the feet however you like. Have a wide step, narrow step, very bent legs, almost straight legs. The important thing is to get the weight correct. So again, this is relatively still. You're just turning side to side, and you're tending to favor the foot you're turning into. So this is unyielding here. So a yield is going forwards in order to come back. And then an attack is going back in order to come forwards. And so again, there's always a return in each phase. So I'm reaching out to connect with the person's energy, and then I'm just turning it. And that's sufficient to yield. And then I want to send my own energy back. So first of all, I have to gather it up by turning a bit more this way, and then I can throw it back here. Yeah. So 1, 2 to yield, and then 3, 4 to attack. Yeah. So that circle actually contains both the yield and the attack. Now, if you're going to use it with any degree of facility and spirit, then basically it's not really a circle, it's a figure of 8. So basically, so in other words, there's a twist in the middle where it changes from yield to attack. There's a twist rather than a simple returning along the circle. Yeah. You're doing it wrong again, Lindy. Let's do it slowly. It's actually really difficult, yeah? So let's stay in the middle. Okay, just try one hand, yeah? Okay. Now send the hand forwards, and you're connecting with the back leg. So you're connecting with the leg, that's it. So you're connecting with your left leg into your right hand. That's it. And then so in other words, when you send energy out, it's cross energy. When you bring energy back in, it's the same side energy. Yeah. So this is cross energy. So from your left leg into your right hand or vice versa. But then as you turn here, you're going into the other leg. Yeah. And it feels odd because what you want to do intuitively is make space. So you want to move away from the person. But actually, if you yielded well, then you really want to crowd the person. You want to advance on them. It's the last thing they're expecting. And this, I mean, most of the martial arts we know about this. I have a friend who lives in the city just north of here, and he made friends with the Russian security guard. And he was like an amazing martial artist. And he was just all advancing all the time. He was all yielding. You know, we think that Tai Chi has got a handle on yielding when nothing else has, but actually it doesn't. Yeah? And so, but basically what was happening is I was punching him. He was just effectively using my arm to climb up in order to punch me. Yeah? So each of my joints he was using as like a node which to grab. He wasn't actually grasping it with his hands, just by touch. So he was just flying up my body, but he wasn't there. I couldn't touch him because effectively he wasn't there. So this is the sense that we want. So here I'm turning then from this leg into this hand, and then I turn and come forwards because of course I want to be able to advance with my other hand. Yeah? You're often not going to get the job done with just the one. You need to have a few goes. Yeah? And then I can pull here. And then it allows this hand to advance. Yeah? And then pull and pull. Yeah, so my right hand here is bringing the energy into my right leg, which my right leg is then returning into my left hand. And then pulling here. And other leg, Lindy. That's it, that's it, that's it. That's it, that's it. And then pulling and here. So it's exactly the same as what you would do if you were climbing a rope. Okay? So if you're climbing a rope, you'd be pulling the rope very strongly towards yourself, down, but your body would be moving up. Yeah? So your body is actually moving in the opposite direction to the energy that you're expending. Yeah? So here I'm pulling in this direction, but that's making me go forwards into this hand, you see. Yeah. So that's all it is. Yeah. And this is basically Chen style Tai Chi. So Chen style Tai Chi is just using the other person as a rope up which you climb in order to get to their throat and their eyes and all the other nice parts that are tasty. So on. Pull and push. Pull. Yeah. So you can see that the more intensity I put into the pull, the more intensity I can put into the push of the other hand. And then there's like a real balance between what I'm drawing in and what I'm giving out. So even though it looks very slow and controlled, and like it's all happening in this space, there's a hell of a lot of energy flying forwards and back. Flying back from my yielding and flying forwards from my attacking, from my entering. So 1, 2, and 1, 2. And again, the constant is the sinking. So again, let's just bring it back to here again. It's good. Soon over, Mary, don't worry. It's a good thing about this sort of pain, it doesn't last for very long. Okay, now let's just try a little bit of the form that we do. So just 1. So again, it's just single weighted. Yeah. And again, this little leap as you fly across. And then just what we've just been doing now. And then just wrists light and elbows heavy. And then again, going forwards to enter, and then yielding, remember here, and coming into the leg that I'm yielding towards. Yeah. And that then releases the other leg. And now again, this leg now starts trying to push me back. And this leg squeezes energy up into the hand. And then I just yield here. I bend this leg, and I yield here and here, and the arm just, it's like rolling up a carpet. The arm just rolls into a circle, into a semicircle. Yeah. Okay, now this bit's the, so now we have to just feel this leg, the back leg. So what we want to get out of the habit of is just releasing the back leg when you're in the front leg. You want the feeling that this back leg is still driving me into this leg, and this leg is actually trying to push me back. Yeah? Because here, I'm turning in order to squeeze energy from this leg into this hand here. Yeah? So here, but I don't want to have to come forwards to do it. So I just want to be able to just basically turn on the spot, but draw on tension and energy from this leg in order to yield for the ward-off right. Yeah? And again, the legs are fighting each other, and that squeezes energy up into the hand, and then forwards. And then roll back, so just reaching forwards now. And again, this leg is pushing me back, it's pushing energy into this hand. And then I yield here, and then I attack here. Again, energy coming from this to this hand. And then I yield here and here, like again, like I'm rolling the carpet up, and I come forwards to press. And now I've got to feel the tension here, yeah? And then I just go back. And again, this has to be strong to push me into this leg to generate enough energy for this attack. And then I pull here, and now I'm pushing into this leg, and this is squeezing up into this attack. And then back. And then yielding here, and then yielding here, so forward, and then round, step, and now as soon as you step, just start the legs fighting each other, yeah? Because I need to squeeze some energy up into this hand. And then basically when you do single whip, you're pulling. Think of this front hand as actually pulling the person's energy, rather than attacking, rather than pushing. Yeah? Because you're bending that front leg, you're bending the front leg and the front arm. Yeah? And now we'll just do crossing hands. And so here, turning, this leg is now squeezing into this hand. And then back. And just crossing hands. let's try it on the other side. So remember, the things we're looking at today are this, as soon as you put your legs down, just get the legs working against each other a little bit to generate the energy for the arm that's going to attack, for it to come out. Yeah. So here and then 1. And now 1, 2, 1. Releasing the elbows. And again, so I'm yielding here, remember. So I'm yielding here, which actually extends from this leg into this hand. And then I yield here in order to roll the hand in, step, and bring the weight into that leg. So there's a lot happening. And then I step. Now this leg, as it straightens, it's driving me back, and that is actually squeezing energy up into this hand. And then I yield here, and it just rolls the arm up into ward off. And as I come into the front leg, this hand becomes strong here. Now I need to get energy into this hand, because this is the hand that's going to yield now in order to do ward off right with the scissors. So I don't want to have to come into this leg to get the energy. So I need to just straighten this leg. As I turn, I'm straightening this leg into this hand, and it enables me to stay back. Yeah. So again, if you think of Tai Chi being really close quarters, you're fighting very close to someone. You don't have the space to move backwards and forwards most of the time. And then here, from the front leg all the way around into this hand, and then I draw, I'm yielding here. So the energy that I'm taking in with this hand is being sent down here, and then it's just bouncing back up into this hand. And then I yield here, and that rolls me into ward off, and then I come forwards to press. And then I yield here, and that's sucking here, so that I can attack here. And then I yield here, and that sucks here, so I can attack here. And then I move back, and now I just yield here. Yeah. And then I yield here. And again, it's just a figure of 8. It's gone round 1, now it's going round the other. And then I just bounce out of it. Step. And before you start moving the weight, just establish the tension in the body. And now use this left hand to pull. You're pulling yourself, like you're holding a branch of a tree, and you just pull your body forwards, using that. That's lovely. And really feel the openness here and here. Yeah. So this is why they call silhouette the open posture. And then here, again, I'm pulling myself forwards, and like I've got this hand on a branch of a tree, and I just pull. I bend the arm and the leg, and then I attack here, because as the energy weight comes into this leg, it supplies attacking energy into this hand. And then I just yield here, because I'm scooping with it, I'm yielding with that left hand. And then here, this is, if anything, is attacking here, so this is like an attacking loop. And then just up. Yeah, so remember, this hand is attacking, this hand is still in yielding mode. And then you just close it.